18 movies spread over 10 years have all been building up to this, and they pulled it off. So let's talk about it. Avengers Infinity War is the third Avengers movie, but really it's essentially the culmination of almost everything in the MCU up to this point in time. Still, the story's actually pretty straightforward. In the film, the Avengers must reassemble, make some new allies, and team up with the Guardians of the Galaxy to stop Thanos on his quest to acquire all of the Infinity Stones. And that's all I'm going to tell you about the plot of this movie that I did thoroughly enjoy, because this is a spoiler-free review and I want you to go in squeaky clean. With all that said, I will be doing a spoiler-filled review on Sunday, so come back in a couple days if you want to dive into all the details and see what I thought about all the specifics of the movie. With that said, let's get started talking about the good. One of the absolute best things about this movie is Thanos. Going into it, I was a little bit nervous that he was going to be just kind of this one-note villain that just wants to kill a bunch of people, but they go so much deeper into his motivation and what drives him, and a sadness inside of him that I was not expecting them to put on this character, and just gave so many more levels to it that you understood where he was coming from, even though he's trying to do horrific things. And right out of the gate, they show just how merciless and cruel that he can be, and as an audience, that means you feel the stakes and the urgency throughout the entire film, because he will do whatever it takes to accomplish his mission. This all ties really well into some of the themes of the movie related to death and loss and sacrifice, and it gives the movie a very strong sense of emotion throughout the entire film, and a lot more emotional resonance than I was expecting it to have. To state the obvious, this movie has an amazing cast of characters. It is so much fun to see them interact back and forth, the witty banter, all of it, just kind of a dream come true. About halfway through the movie, I was thinking to myself, this movie's like a feature-length version of the airport sequence from Civil War, and I mean that in the best way possible. And it's not just the cast that's massive, the scope and scale of this movie is just incredible. If Ant-Man was like a heist movie in the MCU, and Winter Soldier was kind of like a political thriller in the MCU, this is like Lord of the Rings in space. Just a massive story about all of our heroes coming together, trying to save the entire galaxy. All of the action sequences just feel huge, even when it's just two characters duking it out, and they're filled with these iconic shots. Also, going into this movie, I was worried about the tone, if they were going to be able to balance the high stakes promised by the trailer with the humor that we expect from some of these characters, and I thought they did a great job of balancing that out in this movie and feeling right and feeling consistent throughout. And finally, this movie is filled with wow moments. Whether you're talking about awesome moments of heroism, whether you're talking about shocking twists that you don't see coming, or whether you're talking about characters that you didn't even know were in the movie, there's so many wow moments that just put a grin on your face or put a tear in your eye. With that said, let's move on to the mixed aspects of this movie. One of the big ones is the CGI. Some of the CGI is just phenomenal, especially with Thanos, but then there's a few shots that felt a little bit off to me, as if they put so much time into making this character come to life that they didn't think about how kind of the broader shots looked. Because some shots look so good, it highlights the shots that don't look so good. Also, the character balance probably isn't going to be exactly what you want it to be. Now, it didn't really bother me that some of the characters that I really liked didn't get that much time in the spotlight, because the movie on the whole was enjoyable enough for me, but depending on which characters that you love, you could be pretty frustrated that a lot of them feel a little bit like they were put in the movie just because they needed to be in the movie, and some lead characters become side characters in this movie. Also, there's several shots that are prominent in the trailers that aren't in the movie, or they're different in the movie. If that sort of thing bugs you, you'll be a little bit annoyed by that. With that said, let's move on to the bad. My biggest issue with the film was probably the story flow and the pacing. Because there were so many characters and storylines going along in the film, it felt like we'd get an update on one group of characters and then we'd see everybody else, and by the time we got back around to the first group of characters, 30 minutes or so had passed, and so it felt a little bit clunky in the first half of the movie. Also, character power levels seemed pretty inconsistent throughout the movie. When a character needed to be really powerful, they were, and when they needed to be weaker so someone else could beat them up, they seemed a little bit weaker, and that kind of pulled me out of certain scenes at different times. And finally, this movie does something that I hate when movies do, but I can't talk about it really here because it would be a spoiler to even kind of touch on it. I will talk about it in detail in my spoiler review on Sunday. Before I give my score, movies like this are a little bit difficult for me to rate because while this is a complete story, we also know there's a sequel coming next year. And based off the events of this movie, as well as the powers established within this film, whatever happens in the next movie can either make this movie way better or way worse. So my score on this movie could change wildly after the next movie comes out and we get the full picture of where all of this is going. But as of this moment, were the stakes real and thrilling? Yes. Was the action exciting? Yes. Was there a great villain? Yes. Did I love the character interactions? Yes. Were there amazing moments of heroics? Yes. Did the movie stir my emotions in all the right ways? Yes, yes, yes. For me, I gotta score this one as an A, and on an entertainment level, a 9.5. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. This is absolutely one of my favorite movies in the MCU as of this moment. But how about you? What did you think about Avengers Infinity War? Did it live up to the hype? Did it disappoint you? Was it a train wreck? What did you think about it? Let's have a nice, lively discussion down below in the comment section. Try to avoid spoilers as much as possible, but come back on Sunday and spoil away all you want. Also, over the last few months, I reviewed the entire MCU. You can check that out at this playlist right up here. They're all in-depth, spoiler-filled, deep analysis. If you like my thoughts on stuff, please go ahead and check that out. And if you're new to my channel, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I do movie reviews, TV reviews, ranking videos, but the key thing is I don't want to just talk about movies, I want to talk about movies with you. So please join me down in the comment section. Let's have a lively, respectful conversation. And as always, thank you for watching.